There's a moment that happens usually after everything is already over, when the conversations have stopped, the distance has settled in, and there's nothing left to fix anymore. That's when things start to become clear. Not all at once, but gradually. You start seeing the patterns. You understand what was happening, not just on the surface, but underneath it. Why you reacted the way you did, why they pulled away, why certain moments felt heavier than they should have. And for a lot of people, that clarity comes with a very specific type of feeling. It could feel like, I wish I understood this sooner. Because when you look back, it can feel obvious. You can see where pressure built, where things started to shift, where safety began to drop. Even moments where you thought you were doing the right thing start to look different. You might even start to see how something you said or how you showed up could have felt on the other side. Not because you were wrong, but because you couldn't fully feel it at the time. And that realization can be heavy because it's not just understanding what happened, it's feeling it from a different perspective. You might notice that when this happens, your body feels different than it did during the relationship. There's more space now, less urgency, less need to defend yourself. And from that place, something opens up. The reason it becomes clear after it ends is because your nervous system is no longer inside the experience. When you were in it, your body was involved. There was emotion, there was uncertainty, there was attachment. And all of that creates activation. Your chest tightens easier, your thoughts move faster, your attention narrows. And in that state, you're not just listening, you're reacting, trying to respond while also managing what you're feeling. So even if part of you wanted to understand at the time, another part of you was trying to protect you. And protection often sounds like defending yourself or explaining, withdrawing, or shutting down. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't have the capacity to stay open in that moment. But once it's over, something changes. The activation drops. There's more space in your body. Your breathing is different. Your system isn't trying to solve anything anymore. And from that state, you can finally see, not because you became smarter, but because you're no longer overwhelmed by it all. And sometimes this is where something else happens too. You start to feel what the other person might have been feeling. Moments that didn't make sense before suddenly do. Not just intellectually, but emotionally. You realize this might have felt like pressure to them, or this might have felt, they might have felt unheard there. And that kind of understanding is very hard to access when you're in the middle of defending yourself. Because when you feel attacked, misunderstood, or rejected, your system closes. Not completely, but enough that you can't fully hold both perspectives at once. But after it's over, you can. And that's where the clarity comes from. But this is also where a lot of people become hard on themselves. They look back from a regulated state and judge a version of themselves who was operating from a dysregulated state or activation. And that creates regret. You feel like, I should have handled that better, or I should have seen this, I should have done things differently. But the truth is, you were responding with the capacity you had in the state you were in, not the clarity you have now. And that doesn't mean there's nothing to learn. There definitely is. But the learning doesn't just come from judging the past version of yourself. It comes from understanding what state you were in when those moments happened. Because the goal isn't to become someone who sees everything perfectly in hindsight. It's to slowly become someone who can stay a little more present while it's happening. Not perfectly, just slightly more aware, slightly more open, slightly more regulated in real time. So if you've ever looked back at a relationship and felt like, now I understand everything, but didn't have that same clarity while you were in it, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just how the nervous system works sometimes. And as your capacity grows over time with experience, that gap between experience and understanding starts to get smaller until eventually you don't have to wait until it's over to actually see what's happening.